When you think of major regions for League of Legends, each region has a mid laner that has reigned supreme over the course of several seasons. The LCK has Faker, the LPL Knight, LCS with Bjergsen, LEC with Caps, and of course, the PCS has their undisputed king, Huang Yi-Tang, better known as Maple.
Can't happen. You would hope so.
Thank you.
Maple coming in. The shooting star is there. The team will follow. That means the inhibitor's down, but the grand show failing. That was not doing well. So there's even more pressure on you. Doesn't seem to phase him.
Elder Dragon Balls though, and now Flash Wolves can try and take this fight. They're going in. Oh man, torn from Maple, and once again the mid lane steps up.
Flash Wolves, and he goes sword out. Massive 3-man pulverizes Wolf. He's almost destroyed. Lancer Spite is there, and SKT relegated. Oh my God, Maple! And there goes the Nexus. Look at the celebration on this Flash Wolves squad. LMS proving themselves today.
Maple made his name in the League of Legends scene back in 2013 when he joined the organization the Gaminian Bears to first participate in the Taiwan Esports League of 2012 to 2013 when Maple was only 15 years old. At first, it was as a tryout for the team, but after the season had concluded, he became the starting mid laner for the team, which was perfect as the team's roster issues during the TESL meant that the Gaminian Bears finished 4th place out of only 6 teams competing. But it was enough to get invited to the 2013 Worlds qualifying tournament for Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau by Garena, the organization running the tournament. Only one team would qualify for Worlds out of the 12 invited teams. It was a bumpy road with the group stage going well for Maple by tying for first place in Group A with the Taipei Snipers at 9-1. However, the double elimination bracket was not so kind to the Gaminian Bears. In their first match, they would face off against the second seed from Group B, the YE Spiders, and would get swept 0-2. After looking so strong, they were now just one series loss away from missing out on the 2013 Worlds. Maple and the Gamma Bears would persevere. They would run through the lower bracket, and let's just run through all the teams that they beat on their way through it, shall we? First off, the reigning world champions of the Taipei Assassins, then the first seed from Group B, AHQ Esports Club. Then they would get their revenge on YE Spiders, and that would get them to the grand finals where they would face off against the Taipei Snipers with one team, the winner of that series, being the team to qualify for the 2013 Worlds.
The favor back to themselves by throwing Zac against Cannon.
And
Orion gets caught
oh
there.
my goodness, the damage. In goes Zonda. Zonda, how you gonna go in? He's gonna pop the slicing maelstrom. Now he's finally... Does he have his Zonius? No, he still does not. No, he does. He just popped it, but he's still gonna go down. God JJ gets pulled back into the fight. Maple pops his Zonius to stay alive. And they're just gonna finish off the Nexus there.
Yeah, gonna be enough. It looks like they will be taking out the first Nexus turret. The second one is sure to fall, and it looks like Gamma Bears will be taking game number 2 of this Best of 5 series, and one step closer to the World Finals.
反而是一个 ace， 如果这 ace 到这里就要去了。哇，这个方式超级无敌快要被中走了。哦，这个地方赶快要位置直接中掉巴龙之后 ，ABC 的地方是被夹乱七八糟交出大绝之后。 尬 JJ 吃到了唢呐大，最后直接被打挂。牛排这边血线非常的好，最后在一个狙击收掉远方逃走的最后一个。这地方应该是要打出一记 ace， 因为中大应该走不掉了。这个巴龙掉了，这场应该是快要 GG 了。哇，我觉得这场应该是要直接 GG。哇，这个直接跳进这个牛排，直接跳进温泉里面，然后打掉主导狙击。恭喜橘子熊拿到台港澳的地区代表权。
哇，这边恭喜橘子熊从败。
Maple, at only 15 years old, would qualify for the 2013 Worlds and represent the GPL as their first seed. Sadly, even with a bye straight into the bracket stage, the Gamma Bears didn't look all too good. In their one and only series, they would face off against the LCK representative SKT T1, and they would lose 0-2. the Gamma Bears' run at Worlds would end in a whimper.
When you're that far ahead in your lane, to be honest, I think there's some good players on the Gamma Bears side, but this was definitely an individual skill mismatch, especially in the mid and top lanes. But Faker just got ahead. One time, okay, he's fighting Cassidy, and Cassidy loses lane. Other time, just obliteration here.
For a lot of players, that could be the end of the story. The Gamma Bears would even disband shortly after their 2013 Worlds run. But it wasn't due to the loss that they necessarily disbanded. No. Riot introduced a new rule that limited players from playing based off their age. So if you were 16 and under, you could not play. 17 and older was the restriction, which sucks for Maple because he had turned 16 on October 10th, 5 days before the Gamma Bears had disbanded. Thankfully, this is not the end of our story. In steps the brand Yowie. They had a team in 2013, but it didn't do all too well. So, a bunch of talented players, now on the market, well, Yowie decided to swoop in and form a new home for the players. Thus, the creation of the Yowie Flash Wolves. Going into 2014, there was going to be a new league that represented the Southeast Asian region called GPL. We kind of alluded to it before. That is where the age restrictions were going to hit the Flash Wolves and Maple. Leading up to the GPL, there was a smaller qualifying tournament called the LNL, which Maple was allowed to play in with the Flash Wolves. However, the team would place 4th and only barely be invited to the spring season of the GPL. I want to add in that there was also the World Cyber Games 2013 that Maple and the Flash Wolves would participate in as the first real tournament the Orb would play in. But that's a whole can of worms that I am not going to go into today, especially because I couldn't find any footage of the event with the Flash Wolves playing. Cutting back to qualifying for the GPL Spring 2014, and that's where Maple couldn't join with the rest of the team. The Flash Wolves had to make some roster movements to fill Maple's spot, while Yowie would do everything they could to keep Maple involved with the org, even going so far as to create a secondary team called Flash Wolves Jr. just for Maple. But as you could kind of predict, without Maple on the team, the Flash Wolves could only do so well. They finished 5th place, losing out in the quarterfinals of playoffs to the Taipei Snipers. This loss would also mean the Flash Wolves would not be invited back to the summer split of the GPL and therefore would miss out on 2014 Worlds. This had some unintended consequences though. Because the GPL was the Riot affiliated tournament, it meant that the Flash Wolves would be free of the restrictions that denied Maple being on the team. Maple would rejoin the squad with his old Gamma Bear teammates and play in some smaller tournaments in Hong Kong and win both they played in. And guess what? October 10th rolls around, Maple turns 17. Perfect timing since he had already rejoined the team, had already won those tournaments in Hong Kong, and now could start preparing for the 2015 preseason, knowing full well that he and the Flash Wolves could participate in the larger tournaments again. But just because you're back with the team, you can play in these larger tournaments, doesn't mean things are going to start off too easy. And the preseason for 2015 was no different for the Yowie Flash Wolves. They would struggle just a little bit. They would qualify for IEM Taipei through the qualifying tournament, but it was only as the 3rd seed because they ended up losing to the Taipei Assassins as well as AHQ Esports Club during the bracket stage. Well, come IEM Taipei, Flash Wolves would face off against the Bangkok Titans where they would easily crush them, moving them further into the bracket to then face off against AHQ, where if you looked at the qualifiers, you would think that this was going to be the 2nd seed versus the 3rd seed favoring that of AHQ. So when you actually have the victory there for the Flash Wolves, it would seem like an upset. But by the time IEM Taipei had started, there had already been a month removed from the qualifiers. And the LMS, which was the new league that took over for the GPL, had begun. It actually had turned out the Flash Wolves were the 2nd best team in the LMS. So with that 2-0 victory for the Flash Wolves, they would move on to face off against the best team in the LMS at the time, the Taipei Assassins. The finals would not start the way the Flash Wolves wanted, with them dropping the first 2 games. The first one was close, but the second one was just seeming like TPA were about to steamroll the series. However, This truly was the beginning of the greatness for the Flash Wolves and of Maple.
The Taipei Assassins won a 2-0 up, but it seems that Yowie Flash Wolves have finally adapted. Can they take the first game? The game's underway. Dark Binding on wins as well. That's going to keep him out of it. Dragon's gone down. In they go.
Yeah, and that is not just going to town on the Mia. We will see Loopy try and get away.
2 will fall. Jay gets hammered there by Maple. Jumps on top of him. This will be game number 3 going the way of the Yowie Flash Wolves. They're not out of this yet, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not sure what just happened there, but we are going to see the chase coming in. Tidal Wave does go down. Carter's going to go low, and that is Wings diving right into the middle. They're going to combo this one up, and look how low the Flash Wolves are falling. Now we'll get a good ultimate off, and that might be enough to turn it around. They've got the 4 kills.
It is the Yowie Flash Wolves pushing in, and the big slams go down from Meganar.
Yeah, one last fight here. I think Wins is going to get locked up, finish off. Wild Growth was keeping him a while. Second Nexus turret will get finished off. There is another binding landing in the end. Morning got a kill, but he did go down. It's an ace for the Yowie Flash Wolves, and the game. We're going into the final match here. But now there is a first blood coming in. It's Chowie that actually picks it up, but Snake will drop down into the middle of the fight as well. Chowie will be the target, and they're going to get Chowie as well.
The bottom lane, it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to go on towards
a fight. There we go.
Oh, Maple's going to be the target. Rips walks away, gets locked up. The rest of the team are reacting. Does manage to flash out of it, and in come the Yowie Flash Wolves.
Oh, Morning at half HP. Jay is low as well. They're also very low here. Wins as well. Jay surely going to get picked off here by Snake as he jumps over towards the Tribush. Actually misses the house, but Maple will get a kill anyway. That's a 3-0 here.
Half the hit points already gone. TPA tried to close the gap, but that's about all they're going to do. Maple comes around the side, picks up the kill. Jay goes down. Assassination of the support are going to do the damage. They're going in. The wave comes around there. Jay gets caught out. Wins is low as well. Maple goes in, pops out Zonia's, wins one more hit on him. Doesn't matter. They're going to clean through. Gets himself the double. The inhibitor is falling. TPA are railing. They're falling back behind. That's a triple once again for the mid laner Maple, who has been dominant on cast.
The Yowie Flash Wolves do the unthinkable, come back from a 2-0 deficit to win the game, and the Intel Extreme Masters Taipei. Absolutely brilliant comeback.
This would take the Yowie Flash Wolves to Katowice and to the IEM Season 9 World Championships. But that's a story for another time. I'll do a whole video on that. So let's just say that the Flash Wolves made it to the semifinals, but unfortunately lost to TSM in a close best-of-3. So let's move back to the LMS for a bit. Maple would finish in first place in the spring season, but they would unfortunately lose in the finals. Then, when you go over to the summer split, things were okay for the Flash Wolves, but unfortunately, they didn't even make the finals this time around. Now, it is important to note that at this time, the LMS would actually get 2 teams to represent them at Worlds, but only the first place team from the summer would automatically qualify. The second seed was decided in a last chance regional qualifier, and here, the Yowie Flash Wolves would take revenge and qualify for Worlds. 2015 Worlds, if you don't know a lot about it, definitely go watch it. It's a very entertaining one. This is the Worlds in which Maple and the Flash Wolves got themselves the honor and the nickname of the Korean Killers.
Chain though out, Gangplank God's gonna zone them away. This is not a bad fight for the Flash Wolves, but the ulti out from Nick is good. There's actually Barrel does get it spam! Jumps in with a Flash ulti, but Carter's already taken out Prey. Flash Wolves, double kill there from Gangplank. Gonna keep running, Kuro's forced to flash out. To be careful, teleport up for Smoke, but he's not alive.
And here's Snake.
Oh, goes in, kills Agent! That's gonna give him the Baron. Carter so low, but he heals himself to safety. Flash Wolves get Baron. Wolves might just be Ku here. One Nexus turret is down. The super minions in the Baron are doing too much. Ku Tigers too far behind. Can't do anything. What is up with the upsets?
Hojin finds what they want, got the pop-up. Oh, a great dive in, stopping the Thundering Shuriken to keep him alive. Do they actually want the fight, though? They have no support here, and they're going to take it in the jungle. Kuro to the backside there. Can he be all right? Carson kicked him in. That's the kick you were talking about, Kobe. They get it once again. NL gets excited, takes half a Gorilla's health. Maple goes in. Can he pull himself out? He does. Ignite. And the Ignite to boot. Do anything because minions are crashing into your base. You have to call too many members back.
Play here
it gives another fight to Flash Wolves, right to Prey in the back line. live throughout this fight. Kuro's gonna be next. They are able to take down NL, but the damage is still there. Maple gets hit by the Noxian Guillotine. Actually pulled in. Can he put out more damage? Steak versus Hojin, and it's still our Flash Wolves coming out so strong.
Smep could.
Whoa! Did he flash? He did. No, he flashed.
Collateral damage there. Gorilla goes down in the explosion.
Wolves have eyes on the Nexus.
Yeah, well, Smeb left it right.
Oh, Smeb, go for NL, he misses it. The Lantern out, the Dark Passage is huge. Gorilla goes down immediately. He doesn't even really get Slicing Maelstrom off. Right back into prey, kick him in the mouth, take him down one more time. The Sigil coming out, a double kill in now for Maple on his LeBlanc, 2 games in a row. NL coming up with more big kills. Smeb going for the victory, the valiant fight before he goes down. Kuro should get critted out here. Few more hits, he cannot shift himself to safety, and Flash Wolves on the Nexus are going to take down the Coup Tigers.
And with that win, who would have guessed the team that comes into the day 1 and 2 would finish first in the group?
To give a little bit of context of what we just watched, it's good to know that the last 2 Worlds had been won by the Korean representative, the LCK team, and so going into 2015, the Coup Tigers were considered not only the best team from the LCK, but the best team in the world. For the Flash Wolves to beat them both times, it was considered impossible, especially since the Flash Wolves had lost to Counter Logic Gaming and the Brazilian Pain Gaming. And so, while the Flash Wolves would exit Worlds, losing in the quarterfinals to the European team, Origin, they had certainly left their mark on the world. Thankfully, Maple would stay with the Flash Wolves for 2016. The 2016 spring split of the LMS was another win for Maple and the Flash Wolves. They would play second place in the regular season, but then would go on to dominate the playoffs, even capping it off with a 3-0 victory in the finals against AHQ. This year was a big change for the Flash Wolves because winning the spring split meant another international event for them. The second ever mid-season invitational. If 2015 Worlds was the start of the Korean Killer moniker for the Flash Wolves, the 2016 MSI was what made it permanent. Just run the tape.
One Nexus turret separates SKT from a loss to Flash Wolves, and it goes sword out. Massive 3-man pulverizes Wolf. Is almost destroyed. Lantern Spite is there, and SKT relegated. Oh my God, Maple! And there goes the Nexus. Look at the celebration on this Flash Wolves squad.
I think they're going to be able to get it. Here's a scout from Ezreal. Wolf is actually very low. But this Baron
here.
Oh, they're here time.
Card is here. Oh my Lord, he gets it. He stole the Baron away, and SKT starts coming apart at the seams.
Is hurt by the positioning of Duke's Maokai, and they're actually. I don't care about this replay anymore. They're going for Baron.
Yeah, it's already past half its health right now, and there aren't enough SKT members in the pit to make a difference.
Which is crazy. And now Faker's caught out.
Oh, but he's popped up again, and Maple just slays him how he stands. 4-0-2 now on the Azir. They're going right in. Nexus turrets be damned. They're going for broke on this one. Now they turn their attention to take him out, and the cow gets a pinball off onto Duke and Blank. Just enough damage to take down the tree. Nexus turret number 2 is gonna fall, and Faker is trying to save the day. Chrono breaking back to stop Sword Art, but not enough, and NL chasing Blank all the way back into Fountain. Faker's pushed back, the double kill for NL. Flash Wolves have done it again!
Yeah, just crazy. The Flash Wolves would lose in the semifinals to CLG, but who cares? Summer was the same as spring for the Flash Wolves, with them winning. The Flash Wolves got second place again in the regular season, but when the pressure is on for the Flash Wolves, they come to play. This time against J-Team, it was a pure sweep for the Flash Wolves, securing the LMS first seed. Unfortunately, Worlds wasn't too kind to Maple or the Flash Wolves this time around, with the team not able to get out of the group stage. But they still beat a Korean team while they were there.
Oh, taking Faker back. He did just get that flash shot. They're trying to time it. Throws back.
Oh!
The ultimate.
Oh, he did great hiding!
Dodging it. Looks for the movement speed.
Left in the day, the extra scrim they would have done. Maybe this is the play finally.
Whoa, Faker bashed up against the wall. Voice of Light front. An Elder Dragon. Equalizer laid out. Not hitting too many. It's going to Karsa. Flash Wolves look for the fight with MMD. stunned up, cannot be disabled on the side of Blank, and they're on to NL on the backside. Fight as well, Wolf and Sword Art going head-to-head in the support war. Karsa takes down Faker after both the summoners are blown, and that's Duke falling. Flash Wolves have eyes on the base. Flash Wolves, 41 minutes in, never giving up this time, looking to put themselves on the board here in the first week of Worlds, and it's gonna be against SKT in the group.
Maple would stay on the Flash Wolves for 2017, and the first tournament they would play in was IEM Oakland. At this IEM, there were several regions invited. Obviously the LMS, but also NA, EU, Brazil, Oceania, Korea. You get where this is going, right?
Is going for the Nexus, and they're going to have it. 40 minutes, a plethora of pauses, but Flash Wolves take down Longju in game one. Go ahead, Flash to the other side. If your kicks him back in, but he's got the Unbreakable. He's going to mitigate a lot of that damage. Carson now getting rooted by that deadly flourish. That's going to be the curtain call coming through. Sword Art going to be the target. One more shot will take him down, and Frozen's able to find him. Inspection in the front lines. He's going to fall. Now MMD coming in on the sideline, snaps it. Gets a huge burst of damage on the Fury Crash, and it looks like Flash Wolves might be able to run over Longju. Karsa still barely managing to live. Picks up the kill onto Frozen. And China's a massive star, but they're not able to land it on anybody for the stun. Karsa going in deep, kicks out Frozen. Can they jump on him in time? Karsa's actually going to go down, but they do get the victor in the end. MMD sitting in the front, has to snap back. That's going to be the transfer onto Maple for the turn. He's eating up the aggro, but it doesn't even matter. He is such a huge dragon at this point. That's 3 members down on the side of Longju. Crash and Fury desperately trying to retreat, but the flash forward from Double Red comes up with the double kill. MMD will die to the turret in the end, but Flash Wolves, they ace Longju, and I think that they might just be able to end it.
Maple roaming between the lanes, taking out members, and 6-0-11, 17 out of 19 kill participation, untouched in the last fight, DPSing down everyone, and Flash Wolves are through to the final.
Sadly, they would lose the finals to the Unicorns of Love. But the Flash Wolves would still be invited to IEM Season 11 World Championships since they had won the LMS in 2016. It's kind of funny, actually. At this IEM, the Flash Wolves somehow managed to only be paired up against European teams. Granted, there were 3 teams that were European, but out of a total of 8 teams, you would think that doesn't matter. In a total of 8 games played by the Flash Wolves, they would only lose once. They would even sweep the grand finals against G2, taking the first international title for the LMS since 2012 with Taipei Assassins. And with it being the final IEM for League of Legends, Maple and the Flash Wolves would cement their legacy.
Super Minions G2 are putting up a front of resistance, but it's just not coordinated. It's just not enough. Trick is going to have to flash back, and he's taken down by Maple. Everyone's retreating to the fountain. Expect's going to go golden, but there is no chance of redemption. There is no chance of victory, and the Flash Wolves have taken it all 2-0 to become the IEM Katowice World Champion.
This tournament was supposed to be the coronation of Europe. 3 big players, one of them surely to take home the trophy, but it's the coronation of the Flash Wolves, finally winning the big one, finally winning an international tournament with all the other major regions involved. Not everyone, but a sampling. The Flash Wolves, the first place team from the LMS, were too strong. They took down Europe's hopefuls, and they deserve to be IEM Katowice 2017 champions.
In order to keep this video from being over an hour long, I'm mostly going to skip over the rest of 2017 and 2018. At this point in Maple's career, there was no competition for Maple or the Flash Wolves when it came to the LMS. All 4 splits, spring and summer, would be won one after another by the Flash Wolves. In all 4 of the grand finals, the Flash Wolves would lose a total of 1 game. 3 of the 4 grand finals were sweeping victories by the Flash Wolves. With all these successes in the LMS, this meant that Maple and the Flash Wolves would also attend both 2017 and 2018 MSIs and their respective worlds. At 2017 MSI, the Flash Wolves would barely make it out of the group stage by beating TSM in a tiebreaker match, but would also lose to SKT 0-3 in the semifinals. Then moving to 2017 Worlds, the Flash Wolves would get drawn into the only group that didn't have a Korean team, which sadly meant the Flash Wolves would not do so well, only winning 1 game against TSM. Moving on to 2018's MSI, and this was a much better showing for the Flash Wolves. In fact, it was looking like it was going to be the best showing the Flash Wolves ever had at any Riot-sanctioned international event, including any MSI ever. They had to play in the play-ins, but they easily won their series to make it to the group stage. And this group stage is really where we got to see just how good the Flash Wolves could be.
Just going to use it, but now bot lane.
Well, take a look for the Crystal Slashes, manages to get a two-man stun. Devour comes up by RonOP, but it simply does not matter. Seismic shove after 27 minutes and 22 kills. Flash Wolves obliterate EVOS Esports.
Empower Q will time out.
Guys, end the game.
Flashing in for the bind. Going back to the minion line. There comes the turrets and Hylissang. Just not the most threatening Morgana anymore. Flash Wolves will end the game. The 2-0 run. Flash Wolves on form.
Flash Wolves want to push to find the win right here. Baron buff enchant on the minion wave. Nexus turret number 1 taken down. Nexus turret number 2 will swiftly be the target. Uzi shielded up, but where's the damage? What can he do? Nexus exposed. Betty off the side, wanting to take this one down. Uzi looking away. Can he find the damage? Flash Wolves win!
Dimpo Boulder with a knock-up. Here comes the Galio trying to stop Team Liquid in their tracks. First blood goes to Impact. Mujin low off the backside, but Maple's answered here, and Betty is still alive in the front of this fight to force Team Liquid back from the inhibitor tower. Super Minions pushing in the mid lane as well. Betty jumps forward, looking for Impact, and Smithy the flashes away. The flashes forward. Flash Wolves going deep to the Team Liquid base. They'll secure 2 more kills, and now they can look for that inhibitor as well. Can look for the knock into the wall. That's exactly what he's going to do, but a great devour from Swordite keeps his AD carry. Yasuo gets away. Yasuo in the front line gets 2, and it's a great fight for Flash Wolves. King Zone are dethroned.
Stuff dies real fast.
Quickly, that falls Mujin's in the midst of it all. The hero's entrance, look for the last breath knockup. Can't quite connect. Elder Dragon falls though, and now Flash Wolves can try and take this fight.
They're going in.
Oh man, torn from Maple, and once again, the mid lane steps up. The Baron is going to fall and goes to Gorilla, but can Flash Wolves take the fight in King Zone? Somehow survive. Betty kills one in the back line, and Betty is just spitting out hell upon King Zone. A triple for him, can't survive, but eventually he will fall as well, and Flash Wolves are going to go top of the group.
The Nexus turrets are falling, and just as the Baron buff times out, Flash Wolves remain undefeated at 6-0.
Might find the re-engage now as Hanabi is around the backside looking for BDD, gonna find the stun, and now Khan is going to drop. Gorilla low on health as well. The kills coming through fast and furious, and all of them are going to start dropping now as BDD is alone and cannot win these duels. A 1 versus 2 at the very end of it.
Flash Wolves are gonna win this game. King Zone tried something different.
Alas, while the group stage was clearly the stomping grounds of the Flash Wolves, semifinals were their kryptonite. Even with a draw of Kingzone Dragon X, the team that had beaten twice in the group stage, they just couldn't best them in a best of 5, getting knocked out 1-3. Cut to 2018 Worlds, and the Flash Wolves would return as the first seed for the LMS. Placed into Group A, they would start off strong by beating the BCS representative Bongvu Buffalo and the LCK rep in their group, a Freak of Freaks, but they would lose to the EU squad G2. While the next round of the round robin for their group, Maple would lose to the Freak of Freaks, they would also get revenge against G2. This meant that all the Flash Wolves had to do was beat Bongvu Buffalo again, and the Flash Wolves would bring the LMS out of the group stage for the first time since 2015. Sadly, the Buffalo trampled the Wolves.
It's just getting shredded down by the Winter 4 and the other Dragon buff. Bongvu Buffalo, they want a second win here at World. They want the upset. Maple, he finds the outplay, but the next is exposed. A big car, he's just gonna rip it to shreds. The upset is there, and the Flash Wolves get destroyed at the end by that man there.
This would put Flash Wolves tied with G2, forcing a deciding tiebreaker match of who gets out of the group and who gets eliminated from Worlds. Flash Wolves decided to go with a draft that truly was a 2018 draft, up against G2's Hjarnan and his signature Heimerdinger.
I feel like they have the bonanza, unless we see Flash Wolves show us something different, as this would be
That's
different.
different.
Yeah, we're going Mordekaiser bot lane here to try to deal with the Heimerdinger.
Gold holders of G2, Flash Wolves are just going to force the Baron.
That ward to the left of Baron, though, may give G2 the information they need to really put a stop to this play. Hjarnan throwing in grenades is with it in the mix of the fight. Hjarnan just trying to poke them out of the way.
And again, they're going to try and go for it here with it a little too low, but they do get the pick on Hanabi. Maple trying to flank around, but now Kiana's going to face tank for his jungler as Wunder with the World Ender still looking decent there. Oh, the knockup was almost there, but he didn't have the third. They will take down Maple. Now Wunder has to book it, but he's still safe for now. Mugen Flash Q will pick up.
This must mean so much to G2 as Perks now trying to get collapsed onto two members.
Yeah, he's just going to style his way out of this play. Perks does pop it. Actually, he moves through the Urgot ulti. Can't make his way back in, but Wonder's going to try and finish up the kill. Perk still playing around Hanabi. He's dancing through this over. He's actually still living. He's trying to find the biggest 1v1. He will fall, but the rest of his team is playing clean up with aplomb. They're going to take the Nexus turret down. They grab the right-hand side. The stopwatch prop for Wonder is going to try and buy just a bit more time. Kian and Timer is doing what he can.
Just hit the Nexus,
everything out. Hanabi pops the stone plate. G2, they're going to get another kill here as the Urgot cannot defend. And G2 on the precipice of pushing to their first quarterfinals. They put the last finishing touches on the Nexus and push themselves into the top 8.
While the international conquest wasn't really panning out, Maple was still the king of the LMS by the end of 2018. Which means things had to be getting boring by now, don't you think? No matter what Maple did, as long as he hung around in the LMS, he would just keep winning for as long as he wanted. But where's the fun in that? So, Maple made the decision that he would go to the league that had won the most recent World Championships, which happened to be the LPL, since Invictus Gaming had become the first non-Korean team to win the title since 2012. That is, if you don't count, IEM or IEM Worlds. Maple signed with Suning Gaming for 2019, and things were looking good for the team, getting third place in the Demacia Cup, which is a tournament that is used to build up the LPL, with not all the teams taking it all too seriously. This is kind of where Maple gets a bit of a reality check. While he had been dominating in the LMS, he'd been with the same org, and also been playing with mostly the same players since 2013, now in a new environment, he wasn't the one on top. While Maple was the main mid, he wasn't the only mid lane player for Suning, as Maple would have Angel sitting as his sub. This didn't really help Suning. Suning would have a rough spring, finishing 10th place out of 17 teams, thus missing out on playoffs. Maple didn't have terrible numbers for a team that missed out on playoffs, but it was also not all that impressive either. Going into summer, Suning would rely solely on Maple as their mid lane player, and so when I was editing this, I realized I made a boo-boo. Maple did share some time with Angel, though Maple constantly was playing on the team, but they dropped Bubu in week 7, so Maple and Angel kind of would swap back and forth with who played top and who played mid. Honestly, things were a bit better. While it wouldn't be the most impressive split of Maple's career, he was definitely putting up good enough numbers. He was certainly one of the more consistent mid lane players in the LPL, and this would be enough for Suning, as they would qualify for the summer split playoffs with their 8th place finish. However, 2019 would be the worst year on record for Maple when playing full-time. Not only did Maple get knocked out immediately from playoffs, but because Suning didn't get to playoffs in spring, this meant he didn't even get a chance to play in the regional finals to try to gain a world seed that way for the LPL. It would be the first time since 2014 that the World Championship would be without Maple. Going into 2020, Maple would change teams but stay within the LPL. This time, he would join LNG and things would be a bit worse. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, but 2 years in a row, Maple would miss out on Worlds. With both years of his LPL career being less than optimal, Maple would make the decision to go back to Comfort, to go back to the PCS, the new version of the LMS. Sadly, since Maple had left the Flash Wolves, so did the last of the original Gamma Bear players that had joined the team, since Sword Art had left at the same time as Maple. 2019 marked the very last year of the Flash Wolves existing. This meant that Maple had to find a new PCS team. Well, the second-seeded team for the PCS at the previous Worlds was looking for a new mid laner. That team was PSG Talon. And you'll never believe it, Maple won spring and summer, which means back to MSI and back to Worlds for Maple.
They've got the Everfrost now as BRTT in trouble.
Jump back for Maple. Flash is still stunned up, though the jump to try to get over everything else. Oh!
picked up by
Maple,
Wildcats.
do your thing.
Maple's gonna go golden. Hanabi will arrive in time to buy some time. That's a gigantic heal coming out from Maple on the Silas.
But Elyoya waiting on vision. The flash in, no chance to black shield. The immediate chain CC. It's flawless execution, but Elyoya still managed to find a way out. Maple flashes to the wall. He's going to grab first blood. River on the run. No one has dropped from the side of PSG. Kaiwing going to be the sacrifice here, but Humanoid has no mana to follow up. All of PSG outside of Kaiwing is going to make it away, and Kaiwing takes him on a journey. Just managed to stay level 6 off the way, but no Maple!
Hanabi running away. Remember that River's the man to watch. That's the Morgana. There we go. Blabber with a hero steal. But what's the team fight going to look like? Blabber tanking up here in the front yet again. Hanabi going into the back line. They're gonna kill Sven, they're gonna kill Perks, they're gonna kill Vulcan, they're gonna kill everybody!
Gonna go golden as the Soul Shackles do go off, as in goes Gala, looking for one in the back line. Can he actually do it? That's 2 kills already, but now it's Tristana's turn. Maple diving on towards the Kaiser, and there's no way Gala was gonna do that 1v3, but PSG are going to do it. They defeat the undefeatable, and RNG will draw blood for the first time at MSI 2021.
Pretty big damage. Zonya's available for several people, and it's going to be stuns on the 3 regardless. And now, with the turret rumble, Maple just knocks him down with the ulti. That's going to be every single kill you want and need. PSG Talon going to end the rumble stage on 6 wins.
I also just feel that PSG, they're just not responding properly on the map because they keep trying to match RNG, and every time they do, this happens.
Ning starts up the fight, decent damage to Maple. Of course, he's the tank. He's got a good front line. Good Evan both comes, but he's going to be stunned. Gala chased down. Maple shows up for 1 kill. Gets for 2, gets for 3. Maple wants more. Aphelios finds kill number 4. And it turns out you meet him where you find him. A quadra kill.
From PSG was, they want Drake. Oh,
Maple
that's
and
good damage.
Morgan's dead. Holy! I don't think any of us expected that amount of damage from Morgan. Very squishy with the Ravenous Hydra, and the Triforce doesn't really have much tankiness at all. TP coming in from Chovy, the shortest TP you'll see today, but he's going to join this fight. Hanabi jumps off towards the back of the wall, and here's the final chapter. And there's Willa locked up, and Willa tries to flash away Starrick's shield, saving him for the moment, but Hanabi is still on the chase. Off towards the top side, Chovy dodging away from the curtain call. Vista low, he's down. Maple takes him once again, another root connects, and Hanabi's diving under the towers. The shutdown will come down. Death falls, Willa's going to follow shortly after. Chovy chased, raked up, River jumps across the wall. He will survive. Immediately they dive in. Hanabi on the backline. Curtain call is opened up as Depth has to run for the hills already. Morgan is down. Chovy Emperors divides it, but those soldiers aren't bodyguarding you for long. Once again, Chovy falls and PSG are looking for this win. Depth chunked out by the Yuumi. He tries to flash away, tries to get the damage down, but the Whirling Death just isn't enough to work its way through PSG. Vista and Death, the only 2 players left alive. River's already TP'd in. The Nexus in his sights as PSG look to take a win here against Hanwha Life. Maple chasing Vista out. Death unable to get back to the base, and PSG will open their scoreboard here with a win over Hanwha Life.
He's now going to look for the kick, does find it on the beat here. Gale forces to get himself out of the way. Cannon Barrage not exactly finding the value that they want as Hylissang going to flash out, gets that hook back in as well. Quippo decides that he just wants to dive straight on top of PSG. Maple looks for the back line as well. There's the slicing Maelstrom. The CC is beautiful under Maple. He's thrown around like a ragdoll, but he keeps himself alive. 1 versus 4, that was ridiculous, and PSG, they can see that one last Nexus turret, and they're pushing for it.
PSG Talon would make it out of the group stage at MSI 2021, but they would face against the LPL's RNG in the semifinals, and unfortunately, they would lose 1-3. Then when it came to Worlds, it was a little bit worse. Even though they finished the group stage 3-3, it wasn't enough for them to get out of the group stage. They would fall just short. Alright, so 2021, Maple had conquered the PCS once again. Kinda boring, so he decides he wants to go back and try his hand at the LPL once more, feeling that the change is really needed. Now, into 2022, Maple would sign with anyone's Legends, but it was more as a trial run with Maple and the other mid laner that AL had signed, Forge. Forge would start off the season, but that didn't start off too great, so AL would swap to Maple for week 2. Maple would play a total of 10 games for AL with only 2 game victories and not a single series victory. After week 4, AL would switch back to Forge, and in the first series back, Forge would get the first series victory for AL of the season. AL would decide to stick with Forge for the rest of the split, but only still finishing in 13th. This is when Maple made his biggest move to date. The move to NA and to join TSM.
Hello everyone, I'm Maple. I will be the new mid laner for TSM. 想加入 TSM 的原因吗？就 TSM 春季赛的比赛我有看嘛，就感觉他们的表现不如他们的预期嘛，然后就希望我来到之后能够改变很多嘛。
Okay. The only thing historic about it was him moving there in the first place. TSM was already struggling at this point, and Maple, he really just did what he could. TSM was already going through a ton of issues during the 2022 summer split, and the team had fallen from grace for some time by this point, so even bringing a successful player like Maple in, it didn't fix the fundamental issues TSM was going through. The team would go 6-12 in the split, but this would be enough to play in the playoffs, as at this point 8 of the 10 teams were allowed into playoffs, and TSM got 7th in the regular season. The playoffs were double elimination, but the bottom 2 teams were automatically seeded into the lower bracket, so TSM only actually got 1 chance.
Looking for the pick.
Takui's going for it, gets rooted upon the entry. Spica into the backline. Takui, pop, pop, pop. We have a TP into the middle. Solo arrives. He's ready for it. Sets up the double kill for Instinct. Targeting Solo again. Maple in the center of it all. He's healing up in the ultimate. He hits that watch. Jose Deodo, he's circling over onto the dragon. See who gets it. All right, it's the Trundle putting in that work, and they burn the rest of TSM down. Ace here for FlyQuest. They're looking to close this game and pull into a lead for this series. 2-1, FlyQuest out on top. The team upon them joining, so TSM get the pick. Another knock-up here. Chime is here as well. Philip burned on down. Another ult thrown out as the last attempt, but Maple putting in effect. A nice throw into the wall. The multi-scotch coming through for TSM. They get themselves the Bud Light Ace Quadra for Maple. It has TSM written all over it in game number 4. We are going to a game number 5, Kobe.
Takui's got an unleashed teleport. The engineer could arrive too. TSM, this is so dangerous. Spica's so low.
He is. Takui's here. Ornhorn again. Can Solo get the knock? Spica's on the outside of the pit. Can it go for it? But Solo and the rest of the team, they're zoning them off so much. FlyQuest can't get in it. Wonderful gets charmed. Philip on the outskirts again. Aphromoo is still so high and blasted on down. Jose Deodo eliminated. 2 down. The efforts to fight away from Takui. You saw that channeling coming through from Spica, and the answer is good. Knocking over the wall, Jose Deodo marked down low. Chime out of stasis, and the Poppy ultimate onto Solo again. And Chime, he's the subject of Takui right now, but the rest of the team is here to follow up. Maple on the outskirts flashes after hitting his own Zonias here. And Aphromoo spitting out Johnson. Can he do enough? No. TSM, they answer it back onto FlyQuest. They kill every single one of the green side of this team. TSM clip the wings of FlyQuest, overcoming the first hurdle of their lower bracket run.
TSM faced off against Evil Geniuses in the next round of playoffs after EG lost in an upset series against Cloud9 in the upper bracket. In yet another intense best-of-5, TSM had brought a new series to a Game 5 deciding match. Despite being down in kills, TSM were able to maintain their gold at the same levels of that of Evil Geniuses. It could have been TSM's game with great scaling through Orin and Sivir, until disaster struck. Stop them from doing that.
They're TP for it. They're trying to stop it.
EG wants to fight him for it. JoJo's already turned on the swing. He stole it! JoJo steals Cloud Soul!
After securing Baron and the Cloud Dragon Soul, Evil Geniuses marched into the TSM base to win after 42 grueling minutes. With that loss, Maple and TSM would end their 2022 season. Maple would sadly not be attending Worlds this year. Maple would stay on TSM for the 2023 season, hoping that with a more stable roster, he would be able to conquer the LCS this time around. But there were still some roster fluctuations. Regardless, TSM still had a much better split than last time around. However, unlike in 2022, only 6 of the 10 teams would be welcomed into playoffs. And going into the final week, TSM was in a battle for 5th or 6th place in the standings with 100 Thieves, CLG, and Team Liquid, with even a possibility of 4th place if Golden Guardians fumbled hard enough and TSM won all 3 of their final games. The first test would be against one of the teams TSM was competing for a spot with, 100 Thieves. Despite the best efforts of Maple, it wasn't enough to overcome the power of doublelift on hyper carries, and TSM would lose the first game of the weekend. The next was Dignitas, which should have been a much easier game as Dig was already eliminated from playoffs. Granted, this game was not smooth sailing for TSM as Dignitas made them work for this win for the first 20 minutes. Until Dig did what Dig does and throw at Baron. Then it was easy street. On the final day of the spring split, things weren't looking good for TSM. Both 100 Thieves and CLG had won both of their games, meaning TSM was no longer in the race with them for a spot. However, Golden Guardians lost both of their games. If TSM were going to make playoffs, it had to be to win their final game and then hope Golden Guardians lost their final game against Dignitas. TSM's final opponent for the regular season would be a team battling with Cloud9 for first place, FlyQuest. Alas, this day was just not Maple's day. Fly painted a target on his back and made sure to focus him at any moment they could. And with Prince playing out of his mind on Zeri, Fly would crush all hope of TSM making playoffs. During the offseason, Maple would not re-sign with TSM, being removed from the global contract database and then officially announced to be leaving on May 3rd, 2023. For the first time in 10 years of consistent competitive gameplay, Maple would be teamless and his future seemed bleak. You do know the story is definitely not over, right? There was still a light and a place that Maple could always call home. Maple would return to the PCS and even rejoin his old team, PSG Talon, for the 2023 PCS Summer Split. And like before, Maple would dominate the league yet again. In a 6-week regular season, Maple and PSG Talon would lose only 2 games out of the 18 that they played. Maple felt right at home. He received 6 MVP performances to tie for second with his teammate of Aja and his former Flash Wolves teammate Betty. As well, Maple would be voted as the all-pro mid laner for the PCS this split, just like he had in the last split he played in the PCS back in 2021.
Triple kill here for Maple. He's looking for a pincer on the base. Oh, it's a quadra. It's a quadra. Rally is the last alive. Go in there, boys. Get in there. And we go. It's the pincer. He gets it at the end.
The only thing left now was to win playoffs and go back to Worlds to represent the PCS once again. Getting first place in the regular season granted PSG a bye in the upper bracket along with J-Team, who got second. PSG's first series would be against Deep Cross Gaming, the home of another former Flash Wolves teammate, Hanapi. But Maple and PSG were here to win, and they took an easy Game 1 victory, with Games 2 and 3 being a bit closer, but still PSG's to win in a clean 3-game sweep. The next series would be against a familiar face in Betty and Beyond Gaming. BYG had not only upset J-Team, but had swept them in order to move on in the upper bracket, and BYG came to rumble. After 3 games decided by 1 or 2 decisive team fights, BYG were 1 game away from defeating PSG and knocking them into the lower bracket. But not only are we talking about PCS, but we're talking about Maple in the PCS.
But it's going to be Kongyue who's going down to 1 HP, and we're seeing the strength here of RG. He stays along for such a long time as Maple picks up 2. He's looking for 3. It's going to be Junji who secures that one, and Betty, Woody will be able to stun him up. There is Cleanse available. Magnet Storm comes through. Featherstorm goes backwards, and the Moonlight Vigil connects. Maple will slide on in there. Lakai spawning. Should not be able to say much, and we are going to go to game number 5. As Keres is getting looked at, this is the problem with 3 flanking. It's going to be Golden Wako here away from that Nautilus Assault. He flashes forward, and all the damage Emperor's Divide comes through, but he's going to be able to pick up 1 kill. He uses the cleanse, but he's taken out. Maple finding everything. They've committed everything here to find Wako, but it's Maple. But RJ is here to guard him.
Oh, LeBlanc.
LeBlanc has been one-shotted. An absolute quick scope.
Ball's just caught up there by that Rakan ult.
Kongyue might still be looking though. Over the wall. PSG aren't even going to take the Baron. They're going to take it to the side of BYG. They're able to pick up 1 kill. It's only Betty, and Keres has respawned alongside Lakai.
One tower between PSG and Worlds, and Lakai's gone in. He finds a stun onto Woody, but isn't enough. Betty is trying his absolute damnedest to do the damage, but it's Wako who's picked up one. The Nexus tower is down, and with that, PSG just have to auto the Nexus, and they will be going to South Korea. They will be going to Worlds.
By moving on into the finals, PSG and Maple would get a guaranteed spot at the 2023 Worlds. Now, it was only just a matter of figuring out which seed they would secure. It seemed likely that PSG would have a rematch in the finals against Beyond Gaming to determine who would get the #1 seed for PCS. But yet another upset happened in the lower bracket, this time with Beyond Gaming falling to CBTC Flying Oysters in a near 49-minute Game 5 loss to put the 5th seed from the regular season up against PSG. And this series felt like the last for PSG, with each game being decided by 1 or 2 fights and no game going over 33 minutes. After the Flying Oysters had tied up the series 2-2, it was all down to Game 5 for first place.
Stuck here collecting some waves. Does have vision here, so... Oh, will they find her?
Oh, they're looking for it. This could be first blood. Emperor's Divide comes through, but flashed away from Gemini. Jimmy trying to get away. Here comes the Nature's Grasp. Aatrox is coming. He's popped the world into flash away from Maple. Junji is trying to get away. So much used, but Maple remains.
CFO, they need to be careful. They don't have anything.
A lot of damage onto Jimmy, and he uses this to the skies. In goes Junji. It's going to be Waku who ults, and he's finding the damage. Woody's trying to stay alive, but it's first blood going over the rest. Quickly traded back though, as Arjun's going forward. In comes the Sand Soldier, in comes Junji, and in comes Waku as they find 4. Immediately Arjun back. Pretty well. So Pokelands gets away that crown, but Nature's Grass coming through means Dragon will be picked up. Are they still going to look for a fight? RJ going to go Mega, and it's going to be an immediate kill. Wako's going crazy. The team fighting a 2-man. Nah. It's going to be Xiaosu who's taken out as well as Junji flashes over the wall. Nature's Grass will land. Twisted advance onto Gemini. Shun slowed up, and Wako is coming through. He's got the auto attacks. They've got the stun, and Wako's got the damage.
Gio just going to kill them.
Does seem that way. Xiaosu is caught up the top side, does flash away, uses that solar flare, but RJ's called back up to him. That's 1 kill. Nature's Grass coming out, landing on, and a 3-man. Magnet Storm and so much damage. PSG have wiped the floor with CFO, and they're going to take out the grand finals in game number 5 in an amazing fashion.
Of the 6 times that Maple had been to Worlds before, he had only not been the first seed once, back in 2015. Now in 2023, Maple would return to Worlds for the 7th time to yet again represent the PCS as the first seed. Unlike in the previous Worlds, the PCS would no longer have a secured spot in the group stage, meaning that PSG and Maple would have to play in the play-ins. They would easily dispatch LLA representative of Rainbow 7 and then subsequently the CB Laws representative Loud, both in 2-0 sweeps. PSG had one more series to play in if they wanted to return to the group stage, and that series was against the EU representative Team BDS.
So can't really look to engage. Whoa, Junja looking a bit aggressive there and going to take a lot of damage. And the shotgun on the backside. Wacko looking to take out Nuke. Good flash away from the Shurima ultimate. And now he's taking out Nuke. The ultimate from the Maokai keeps everybody in place. And a double kill for Wacko as the Scion is now dead. Sheo running for his life. It's looking like it's going to be an ace. Not quite though, as you can see that the Sejuani should be. No, he's been caught. And there it is. And the rest should fall with him. They haven't got a mini wave just yet on that second tower, so you have to wait a little bit longer. Adam trying his absolute best, but the towers have gone down. The turrets are dead. The slicing Maelstrom is just perfect. And they're going to be able to jump on the crowdy. Wacko goes wacky, but it won't change the result. He gets shut down. Like, I think it was Ender mentioned it on, I think it was like day 3 or something like that, maybe day 2. Is oh, Sheo, you still don't have a flash, and you were hit by an E, so now he's going to get scattered the weak coming in. The perfect execution does end up killing him off right there at the end. Nuke has no flash, and is he going to get stunned in there? There's going to be the Shattering Strike, and then you can add Maple to this mix. We are just absolutely inundated with exceptional mid laners. There's a fantastic ultimate to bring away the Nautilus. Crowny trying to run away, and he will get back to his support. He's doing enough, but not quite to to keep himself alive. Now Nuke goes golden, but only to die a second later. TP out by Adam. That should tell you everything about this game. Not bumped away just yet. They'll get jumped on for the moment. They are trying to see if they can catch up to Sheo, and if Sheo goes down, you don't have any contest whatsoever. He gets ignited. No look. Ignite from Wardy, and now he can really pick the target. Brownie is not allowed to play the game. PSG have not only killed BDS right back onto their base. They're going to use the Talia wall, but Adam dies for only the second time. Through the wall, the turret goes down. They do get the Fates call down on top of Aja, but he is just too damn tanky. Sheo goes back onto his fountain to survive, but PSG 2-0, and they're not even breaking a sweat.
PSG were looking powerful, and Maple was playing out of his mind, and that Akali game was one of his finest. Nothing seemed like it was going to stop PSG from getting to the group stage. And that's all, folks. Nothing left to see here at the end of the video. Thanks. Bye. All right. Maple's career must have had some sort of destiny. If the first big moment of Maple's career was a reverse sweep back in 2015, we should have known it would be Maple getting reverse swept at some point to balance it. And with this loss to BDS, PSG and Maple would be knocked out of the 2023 Worlds. At the time of recording, Maple is 26 years old. It has been a 10-year journey that we as fans got to witness and watch the ups and downs of an amazing career. While there are moments that we can criticize Maple's career, it has been an entertaining one to watch all the way through. Maple has won the most titles of an LMS/PCS player ever. Maple brought home the last PCS international win. Maple has been a part of so many Worlds and MSIs that it is just dizzying, at a total of 7 Worlds and 4 MSI appearances. When I first began to work on this video, it was looking like Maple was going to retire, and it saddened me. This was a player that has done so much, and I feel has never gotten the recognition that he rightfully deserves. Thankfully, it took me so long to record and edit this that by the time I finished and had to redo the last few minutes here of the video because of audio issues, Maple and PSG Talon had announced that Maple would be continuing his career to 2024. And I could not be happier to hear this news, and I'm looking forward to the next time we get to watch you play at an international event. Good luck, Huang Yi-Tang. Good luck, Maple. I do want to thank everyone for being patient with me and for all the Patreons that you see here on the screen for helping me out. They're the reason why I'm able to still do this. I don't know if you've seen some of the news that happened to me recently, but it's been up and down. Definitely been up and down. Make sure you check out my Twitter if you haven't already. Also, check out the Patreon. The more Patreons I have, the more I can put into the channel, and hopefully one day, fingers crossed, I can actually afford to get a real editor so that can not only take some of the burden off myself, but also get these videos out faster. But I just appreciate everyone, and even if you don't end up helping me on Patreon, just watching the video and letting me know what you think, what I can do better. Also, any players or any events that you want to hear about, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. That's for the quacks out there.